Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore, continuing Eve's route. He was just gonna tell us about him protecting the flowers or whatever, the secret. I mean, we kind of know, again, the owner part threw me at the end of the last one. I'm like, owner? Like, yeah, okay. Technically, we kind of knew that, like, his grandfather made a comment, although he did say Eve forgot a lot of stuff after the accident, so kind of curious what he forgot. But I think they made it kind of obvious he was like the protector of the flowers. So owner was, I'm like, huh? Yeah, okay, protector of the flowers or whatever. Um, that's his secret mission, I'm assuming, something like that. We'll find out more details, and some of which we might find out now. Anyway,
I'm the owner of the Lycoris Noirges, the flowers of misfortune that grow in Arpachel. My mission is to use ancient knowledge to keep the flowers in bloom.
that's interesting. My mission is to keep them alive. Now, that sounds like a government conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are death flowers, and I mean, it does explain why he was like, I love them. He also eats them.
I'm the guardian of the Lycoris.
That expected, because again, they kind of hinted at that. Well, I don't know if hinted so much as almost exactly spelled it out for us, but whatever. But my mission is to protect them is kind of interesting considering the fact that they're the flowers of misfortune. So interesting that, like, why? You know, because obviously that ties into the bigger picture. Oh, we could have done that in the last part. Sorry.
I mentioned one of my ancestors before. He was a merchant, and a strange one at that.
What? Someone in your family was strange? Never would have guessed.
This particular ancestor of mine was the root of everything there is today. For now, you can think of him as the pioneer.
Oh, great, we have the drifter, and now we have the pioneer. Like, are we, like, making a superhero team? Like, I feel like it's a supervillain team at this point, but the root of everything there is today. This is intriguing. Oh, okay. He looks like a skeleton. That literally is a skull in a trench coat. And a hat. Okay. Not really a CG, but it's like a scene thing, but like, that man's a skull. That's a skull face.
Long ago, when the pioneer was still alive.
Still alive? He looked like he was always a skeleton, so I'm not sure alive works, but okay.
In this black flower garden, he met the real Death who cursed Arpachel.
Oh. So that's Death. Okay. That would make more sense than that being the pioneer.
Upon encountering the shivering pioneer, Death cast a curse upon him.
It was I who planted the Lycoris Noirge across this land.
That doesn't sound like Death. He should have a scarier voice, but I can't do scary voices, so.
The flowers will one day be offered to my dear partner and princess.
Uh-huh.
You must not allow the flowers to wilt. Should they wilt, I will return to reap the lives of all who live here and take them to Hades.
Oh, so...
It was not a warning, but an order.
Uh-huh. Okay. You're the partner and princess, though, I'm assuming? Like, okay.
The pioneer possessed extensive knowledge and knew how to tend to the Lycoris.
This is interesting. There is a lot of weird shit going on here.
He convinced the royal family to protect the country from Death, becoming the keeper of all the fields that surrounded the island. But Death never appeared in front of him again. So he made it a mission for his family and bloodline to continue protecting the Lycorises until Death appeared once again.
Hi, that's me. Maybe.
Eventually, he passed away, leaving behind his bloodline to inherit the mission with no end in sight.
Okay. So when he said, like, okay, so long, he's the start of all of this, I was like, he's the one who came and planted this fucking shit? No, he's like, Death told me keep this shit alive or he's gonna kill everyone here. So that's why we keep this shit alive. But also the flowers kind of keep themselves alive because if you cut one down, it kills you. here's my question, though. How have they not overtaken the entire land? Because, you know what I mean? Like, they're plants, and plants naturally, like, continue to grow and propagate and stuff like that. So, like, if you don't, like, tend to that, well, I mean, okay, Eve is tending to them, but is he tending to them and, like, I keep them trimmed and I keep them so that they stay in their lane and they don't overrun this whole island? Because I feel like they would overrun the whole island if you weren't, like, you know, like, plants, you have to keep cuttings and you take leaves off, and like that's how you trim and groom a plant. Not that I know that much about plants, but like, you know, basic guessing knowledge here. But you can't do these to these because they'll kill you unless it's like Eve's bloodline is the only ones who are allowed to touch these fuckers. Because Dad's like, yeah, all right, no, you got the same bloodline of the dude that I put in charge. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, you can pick that. That's fine. Nobody else better though. You know, weirder shit's happened in this game, like them not knowing what a fucking puzzle is. But anyway.
My family made sure we did everything we could to protect the country from death, which meant we would grow more of the black licorices that the people detested. The licorices had strong reproductive properties and were very resilient, so we didn't need to tend to them every day. So I came out to the fields every so often to check on them and take care of any that needed attention.
Like, that's kind of sweet. Actually.
I always wondered why there were
Oh, that's me. I always wondered why there were so many licorice noirs growing all over the place. I mean, I figure, again, they're a wild species, so they're a lot hardier than, like, your prissy little potted plants, you know? I never knew there was someone actually protecting and taking care of them. And it was my friend Eve. Eve 3, the guardian of the licorice, who owns and protects the fields of licorice noirs found across around. His ancestor met death and made a promise that his family would continue his mission of protecting the licorices. The reason for it sounded so far-fetched that it didn't feel very real. I mean, everything in this game feels that way. Then again, it would explain why he was out in the field that night, expressing his love to the flowers with tears in his eyes. I mean, you're like, tending the flowers, like, oh, I love you guys, like, whatever. I mean, that's nice. You do that to your plants. You're like, good plants, okay. How you doing, buddy? You know, you talk to your plants. Whatever, but it's the view and the weeping over them is a little, that's where you get a little crazy. But it's Eve, so expected. He probably was out there to take care of the licorices to fulfill his mission as their guardian. He was here now for the same reason.
To be honest, I have my doubts about what I was told by my family,
or what was told to my family, sorry, but
when my parents left the flowers alone and they wilted, the number of deaths from the curse seemed to increase.
So you're taking care of them because you have to? Eve shook his head in response.
The licorice flowers are a part of my memories from when I took care of them with my grandpa. I only want to protect them, that's all. So I accepted my role as guardian before I was taken to the orphanage.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, his correlation's not really wrong. Like, oh, we have to take care of them because when they started to wilt, more people died. Well, yeah, but you also know if you pluck one, it instantly will kill you. So, like, the flowers dying on their own would be very similar to you plucking them. Like, it's almost like, okay, you know, normally flowers, when they're blooming, then they put out their pollen and then we all get allergies and shit like that. But this is more the opposite. Like, they're blooming, they're happy. When they start to decay, that's when they put out the toxic, like, spores that kill people. So we gotta keep them happy, you know. So, you know, I don't necessarily, but they should be able to take care of themselves. They're wildflowers, but hey, what ifs? Is that why there are so many licorice noirs just growing around your house?
Yeah, I actually planted those myself. The curse doesn't spread to the bulbs, so I divided them so I could grow plenty. Licorices are surprisingly versatile. And the curse keeps animals and insects from ravaging gardens. And the bulbs are pretty tasty, so...
Huh? You've eaten them? Okay, so now that answers that question, because, like, he said that before, something about they're good, and you're like, he ate the bulbs of the flowers, so not the flowers themselves. But how? Still, that begs the question, because if you have, like, I guess the bulb, when there is no, like, sprout or anything growing from it, there's no flower. But because at some point, like, it's going to grow a flower, and then you're like, okay, I have this bulb that's got the plant part attached to it. You can replant that and move it around, sure. Cool. But you can't just boil that because there's a plant attached to it. And if you get the plant part off, then that's killing it. So you gotta know when to I gotta harvest the bulbs when there's no plants attached to them. Otherwise, you're gonna die. So this is a weird time. And the fact that he had a weird timing issue, and then also I want to be like, it's weird that he, dug up a bulb that didn't have flowers growing out of it yet and was like, huh, maybe I should eat this. You know that question that everyone has, who the fuck was the first person to decide to try to eat something that we eat now? Like, who was like, hey, we should consume this? I mean, I guess there's logical explanations between, like, eggs. Like, oh, animals eat eggs. You're going to eat eggs. No different than eating the animal. Like, okay. Like, I know there's a joke. Like, who decided that this thing that popped out of a chicken's butt was safe to eat? It's like, okay. I mean, hi. Caveman, prehistoric fucking thing. Like, animals are eating other animals and also the eggs of animals. So, like, I feel like prehistoric animalistic humans would be doing the same thing. Like, that makes sense. But, like, there's other things. You're like, who just decided to try to eat this fungus? Was it, like, desperation? Like, who decided mushrooms were, like, a good thing? Like, there are certain things. Like, who was the first person that was like, let me try to eat that? And they were like, Grug died. No, eat those. You know what I mean? Like, but in this world, that's Eve. So when you ever ask, it was Eve. Because he's the motherfucker on this country that's like, let me try to eat it. And it's making everyone else sick, but he's fine, because apparently he has a stomach lined with asbestos. Anyway. Look at his little shocked. He's like, wait, what? He quickly covered his mouth, but it was too late. He didn't have to finish his sentence for me to understand what he did. Don't tell me, Eve. Those family traditions you mentioned, you seriously used to cook lycrises?
That was back when I started my business. I didn't have much to eat, so I sort of ate the bulbs thinking they were safe.
The man's insane. I love it. He is so fucking unhinged. But it's adorable. Were they safe? I mean, he's not dead, so...
Well, I got sick at first, but I found out they go down easy when you grind the bulbs and dry them into powder.
I'm not sure if you can really be proud of discovering that. The strange love for food that Eve seemed to have inherited was really scaring me. No. This is different. The strange love for food that Eve seemed to have inherited. Hi, raise your hand if you kind of love food. Yeah, I'm gonna guess everybody, okay? Everybody loves food. Certain foods, not all foods, but you generally love food. It's not just like, I hate food, but I have to eat it to keep me alive. You're like, no, I enjoy a good meal. You enjoy food. Food is enjoyable. That's the point. Okay, well, the point is to not die, but, we make it enjoyable so that in the process of consuming energy to not die is fun. Okay? That's why somebody invented chocolate cake. Not really a cake person, but you know what I'm saying, right? Pick your favorite dessert. That's why someone invented it, to make it fun. Do you need that cheesecake? No. But is it a hell of a lot better than eating a bag of mushrooms? Hell fucking yeah. Right? So this does not, no. You need to reword this. Not the strange love for food. It's the weird fucking shit this bonkers idiot eats. Makes a hell of a lot more sense. He's crazy. Like, Perhaps he misunderstood my expression as he suddenly started to chuckle.
You think it's strange of me to protect the flowers of misfortune?
I think it's strange that you decide to eat random shit and you haven't died yet. Like, I looked around the field that I had visited often enough to feel at ease. No, I actually think your mission is wonderful. Eve probably hadn't expected that response and looked very surprised. Hi, I mean, of all people. Yes, there's, I get you being like, you probably think I'm crazy. Yeah, but also no. Like, of all people, I'm the last one that's probably going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you crazy bastard? I mean, I am saying that in my head. Don't get me wrong. Also, me saying it out loud to you. But she is the last one that's really going to judge you for protecting death flowers when, like, hi, everyone thinks I'm a human of misfortune. So, like, I don't know. I kind of identify with these flowers a little. You think? So, like, if anyone's going to be like, nah, it's cool. I get it. Understand or whatever, it's going to be me. Hi. Let's be real here. Ever since I was little, I would come here to look at the scenery whenever I felt sad or lonely. I felt like the lycorises were like me. We both have ominous nicknames. It almost felt like the flowers were telling me that I wasn't alone. See, exactly. Flowers that would kill if you picked them. A human called Death who reaped the souls of people just by being around them. The fact that our existences spelled death to those close to us made us strangely similar. Which is why I really love this place and the licorice noirs. They grow without fear and bloom despite the hatred of others. I've always seen them as family to me. I'm just surprised that Eve is surprised by this. So, thank you for protecting them so diligently, Eve. Now she's all blushing and he's all like, wait a minute. Is this a con? He looks mad. The licorice noirs just swayed in the passing breeze as if agreeing with what I said, when suddenly,
I see. I've been protecting and nurturing the licorice noir's flowers all this time. The flowers that everyone in this country hates. But you see them as part of your family. Well, thank you. I'm happy to know someone feels that way, even if it's only one versus many. I think my grandpa and I finally have another reason to fulfill this never-ending mission.
my grandpa and I. Who's your grandpa? You keep talking like he's alive. Hey, for finally getting a CG. It's about goddamn time. Oh, he looks so happy. And it's so pretty with the sunset behind us. And the way they like I just the way they do lighting sometimes in CGs like this where you got like the little sun ray and the like, you know what I mean? Like that's the way if you took a photo, that's what it would look like. But putting that detail, like I don't know why. Like okay, look, it's just hitting me. Like, god damn it, I love it when they do shit like that. Put in the extra effort to make it literally look like it's glowing. And like the little light sparks, like the sun ray around. You know what I'm talking? Whatever the sun ring, whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and I love it, like the way the sun is positioned right in the crook of his arm. It's perfect. Ugh, beautiful. My God, he's tall. Anyway, Eve reached into his pocket. He took out a single flower and tucked it into my golden hair. What's this?
But don't worry, that's not real. That's a hairpin that my grandpa made in the likeness of a licorice. If you don't mind, I want you to accept it as a token of gratitude for what you said.
That's adorable. We're like married now. Eve calmly explained. Because for a second I saw the flower and I'm like, how the fuck does he allowed to pick it? But
Per my grandpa's request, his body was buried among the licorice flowers.
how did you dig them up? That had to be careful. You had to carefully dig them up in order to bury your grandfather and then order to replant the flowers without killing any of them. Even his grandpa would be able to do that. Well, his grandpa was dead, so anyway.
Whenever I came here to pay my respects, I brought the hairpin with me as a symbol. The reason I was crying that night was because it was the anniversary of my grandpa's death.
Oh, I can understand why you were like, I was just, I mean, I wasn't crying. And you weren't going to be like, oh, that's because I was feeling sad about my grandpa who's buried in that field. Because then that's going to need more explanation. And he wasn't ready to give us that yet. I get it. The truth of our encounter was finally revealed. There's no way I can take something so precious to you.
It's okay. I'm sure I'd make my grandpa happy.
Yeah, Grandpa's like, finally, the boy found a girl.
After all, he made it as a symbol of hope that the people would one day come to love the licorices. You said you loved the licorices, so I'm sure you're more than worthy of having it.
Eve's fingers gently caressed the licorice hairpin and my hair.
It's only natural to be hated as someone guarding the flowers of misfortune, even if it's for the sake of this country. So to prevent unnecessary conflict, I decided to share the truth only with those I could trust. It's really sad to know that your loved ones aren't loved by others.
Eve spoke about the past forlornly. The fact that we love the flowers probably just he just almost had a heart attack and died.
Folklore and traditions naturally eroded over time. My parents and relatives wanted nothing to do with the flowers, turning their backs on our family's mission. The exception was my grandpa, who used reliver technology to protect the flower fields, but it was a thankless job and he could hardly endure the life he had devoted to protect the flowers that were so despised. He must have felt relieved when I came forward to succeed his position, because he passed away a few days later.
That's oddly tragic and weirdly coincidental.
I'm deliberately nurturing life that I know won't be cherished. Is it cruel of me to bring new life into the world, only for them to live the same way I had, just to relive my memories of the past? That's always in the back of my mind. But now, I finally met someone else who loves the lycorises in bloom. Can you see why I'm so happy right now?
I didn't say we were going to get married and have babies. We're absolutely getting married, but like nix on the babies. Like I get it. You got to continue your family line, but there's got to be a way to like clone you. There is. We can do it. Cyan has the technology. We'll be fine. He smiled and continued.
Please accept it as a token of my appreciation for your kind words.
He was expressing so much joy that he was on the verge of tears. Aw. So happy he's gonna cry. That's so sweet. The idea of refusing his offer disappeared from my mind, and I responded to his sincerity by placing my hand on his. Sensing that this was my response, Eve smiled even more happily.
I've made my decision. No matter what happens, I will protect this field of flowers for you as the guardian of the licorice. So I hope you'll come back to visit again. If you'd like, I can accompany you too.
He's like, I'll continue protecting these flowers, but also like, I love you. I think he kind of already loved us anyway, but thank you. It's adorable. He's crazy. He's literally insane, but he's so goddamn adorable. Look at his giant puppy fucking eyes. Like, he's so fucking adorable that you're like, I kind of like that they made sweet, adorable little labradoodle over here be like, kind of motherfucking crazy. I mean, to be fair, they're all a little crazy in their own way. Mathis was literally multiple people levels of crazy. From Jamil. Okay, you know what I mean? So, okay. Also not a real boy. So, his crazy was kind of forced upon him, but, we saw it in his driving. Little cuckoo. Just little bits. Little sprinkles of cuckoo. Lucas is just, brainwashed cuckoo, but still was going around stabbing people before the brainwashing. Capucine just did the brainwashing, like, for added funsies, because he's insane. So, okay. And I feel like Luke was like, okay, yeah, stab people for my sister. Is this really? Never mind, I'm correct. Like, brainwash, so you were never going to doubt it. Even if you were doubting it, you're brainwashed to do it, so, okay. But still stabbing people willingly. Started off, okay? Come on. And Cyan is just fucking Cyan, so hi. Again. Like, he's like normal introvert genius scientist levels of cuckoo, which I feel like is pretty standard. I don't feel like that's like over the top cuckoo, And then you got cuckoo bananas over here where you're like, I love the death flowers and I love everyone and you can punch me in the face and it's like, it's okay, bro. And it's like, you are going to snap at some point and it's going to be terrifying. But it's kind of fun because look at him, he's so adorable. You're like, you're adorable and precious, and they made you literally, like, I'm not sure, you are literally 3 inches from snapping. You have got, like, a very, very thin thread holding you together. And, like, I don't know, I don't know, I like it. I like it. Fun times. Anyway. Because I love the licorice noirs, And because I was possibly the only one in the country who would ever express that love, the innocent smile on his face was just for me. Oh, it's gonna make our heart beat a million times faster and we're literally gonna explode. Yeah, look, she's blushing. My heart hurt. The warmth of my emotions and the surging pain inside were spreading to my face. This is where you just kiss him. She's not gonna. Because we're only in chapter 2 and we got like at least 3 maybe? Because I think his is at least 5. 4 was the standard, right? And his is longer. So we got plenty of chapters to go, but like, girl, just kiss him. Did I read that? The warmth of my emotions and the surging pain inside were spreading to my face. Okay. In an effort to hide my blushing cheeks, I moved the pin from my hair and gently held it in the palm of my hand. Look how pretty it is. Although, to be fair, the petals of the flower are a little awkward. They look like a sea anemone. An anemone. Don't hurt yourself, kid.
Don't hurt yourself, kid.
That came out mumbled. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Like a little sea urchin thing. It's like pretty, but also awkward. The gentle sunlight shone on the red petals. It's a unique creation and very beautiful. Is there a reason the lycris petals are red?
I've been wondering about that too. Well, maybe my grandpa found one with a color variation somewhere.
It's true, yeah, because they're all black. But, like, I thought we've seen them in some of the art where they have a little hint of red. Maybe they're supposed to be red. You know what I mean? Grandpa knows some secrets. Eve then continued that he tried crossbreeding the lycrises, but no matter how many times he tried, they always ended up black. Like, how many breeds of lycris are there? He said that the odds of finding a real red lycris was practically impossible. Oh no. I mean, because they're black, the color of death, right? You know, in lots of ancient lore and even modern lore, like, you know, whatever. But red is the color of blood. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and I also just feel like you're like, oh, I don't know. It's not like they're a bright, vibrant, sunshiny yellow. It's like red. Yeah, you picked that because that's like, could be a very, like, also not synonymous with death, but like murder, blood, not always, like, usually, like, if you're, I mean, think of it. We're making a vampire house. It's black and red. We're making something gothy and witchy and dark. It's always going to be black and red. You know what I mean? Colors are kind of like combined together for like the dark, mysterious things. So, like, I don't know. I gotta feel like it's got a tie in there somewhere. Like, they're really red, but what's gonna transform them into the red? You know, when we embrace our powers as death and put a blight on this country, and then they'll magically bloom bright red. I don't know. Weirder shit has happened in this game, okay? They don't know what a puzzle is! I'm always gonna go back to that. I'm never gonna forget. Anyway.
Well, I guess it's just by design. The red looks better in your hair, too.
Really?
Yeah, they are very cute. And beautiful. It looks better on you than anyone in the world.
Oh my god, stop it. I'm gonna swoon. Look at him blushing as he says it. I wondered if his smile and those words were only part of the love he showed everyone. He doesn't know the effect he has. I mean, I kind of. He might not know the effect he has on you, but I don't think that those words were just like, I would just tell anyone they're beautiful. I think he actually means it, but, you know. Before I knew it, the emotion that filled my chest transformed into a different kind of heat. Oh my god, are you gonna kiss him now? I would love it if she just, like, freaking kissed him and you're like, what? Out of nowhere? Just do it. I ended up spending a bit longer with Eve in the Lycris Noirge field, gazing out at the flowers. Eve then said a prayer to his grandfather as the sun was about to set into the horizon. Finally, I disclosed to him why I came out here and what I found out earlier in the day.
I see. You were born in the middle of this field. I'd love to say there's something romantic about it, but seeing as how your parents died in such a way.
Yes, I'm thankful that I finally found out who they were and what they look like, but he folded his arms and frowned a bit.
If they're both relivers, wouldn't their records be stored at the Institute?
You're right! They might not have another backup of their memories, but Pledge required their signatures so we could find out what their professions were and what kind of life they lived. We came to the conclusion that we'd contact Dalit and Cyan tomorrow to ask if they could help us with our research. We just had this romantic moment with fucking Eve, and now you're gonna fucking flop Cyan in my face? What have I said, game? You can't do that!
I hope we can find out the cause of your parents' deaths for their sake.
Yes. And I hope that no one else suffers the same pain my parents went through. And pray that none of my loved ones are lured to Hades. I offered a sincere prayer as I looked up at the stars shining above the Lycaris Noirs. I hope that none of my loved ones are. I don't know. I feel like, was that put in there as like a little nod? Like, you won't, but like, we know that Anko is like the watchman of death and kind of lives in hell, right? So like, and if I listen, I'm not sure, but I mean, we've gotten some weird vibes, and we've did like, are you two maybe somehow you and Adolphe, and like, so then that line would be really funny because I hope no one that I love ends up in hell. I mean, Adolphe might have. And also, you said that in Eve's Route, so I feel like the bad ending is that's gonna come back and bite me in the ass. So maybe you shouldn't have said that, girl. Or they're all gonna end up there. Unko. Oh. But you see what I'm saying? Okay, this is what it is. The petals blowing in the wind. Every time they do okay, they're gone now. But you can rewind a second. But like every time the petals blow, they always have a tinge of red to them. So I thought, even though they kept talking about them being black, every time you've seen them kind of in art like that, they've always had a little hint of red. And I guess it's just to give them depth. So it's not just like just a black line, but you could have done it with like white or gray or something, but they always have a tinge of red. So that's why seeing the red flowers, like, that doesn't seem odd to me because they've always had that red when you see them like that. So I feel like maybe that's supposed to be their true color, you know? And whatever this curse is, the flowers are black now, but maybe when we lift the curse and everything's sunshine and rainbows, they'll be a pretty red. Or when we decide, because I don't think there's really a happy ending in this game, to be honest, when we decide we're going to unleash our bloodlust and murder everyone, then they'll be stained red with blood and we'll open the gates to hell. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying them turning red is a good thing, but maybe that's the end result of whatever the hell is going to happen. I don't know. But anyway. Thank you. You know that was fucking Ongo because that looked like his shadow, so. Had my prayer reached the stars in the heavens or Hades? Lycaris petals rode upon the winds that blew from afar in the same way the winds brought us back to Coen. Here's the thing, right? The petals fall off the flowers in the wind. If you pluck the flower or mow down the flower, if you kill it unleashes toxins and kills you. But I'm guessing whatever magic is here kind of knows the difference between, oh, the petals naturally fell off and then like you plucked it. Because if you went and plucked a flower off one, you'd probably end up dead. Like a petal off one. But the wind blows it, it's not like... Although, maybe that's why people get the curse. Because the petals are falling... I mean, but I'm just saying, like, petals naturally fall off. The flowers naturally die. Like, at the end of their life cycle. That, I'm guessing, doesn't impact the curse or whatever. Like that, all the petals blowing in the wind. That's fine. But if I went and plucked a handful of petals off, I'd be dead. Is this part of the science we're not supposed to think about? Metaphysical rules. Okay. Anyway, Lycaris petals rode upon the winds that blew from afar in the same way the winds brought us back to Coen. Okay, I read that. The petals fluttered, soaring high into the sky. Just when we were about to lose sight of them, it was late at night, but for some reason a crowd was gathered in one of the entrances to the alleys. Laura's back. What's going on?
Something happened.
Sensing something was amiss, Eve and I quickly headed toward the commotion. Thank God we weren't the one to find dead people! We happened by a man who always called out to us when we stepped outside the Karoon office. What's happened here? The moment my voice came out, the people all turned around at once. They glared at us. No, they glared at me. I felt a chill run down my spine. These were the same people who greeted us with smiles earlier today. Do you think that death... It just stopped because Anko was like in the field saying thank you. And he's like a time traveler. We've kind of figured that out, whatever, because he seems to know what happens here and like, you know. Do you think somehow... Well, that would mess up the timeline. I don't know how the timeline shit works, but like, did he only come back to this point? What if he was actually Death that talked to Eve's ancestor? You know what I mean? It's like, you better make these flowers nice for my girl. Because he's the watchman of death, but like, and we're death, but like, but we're not there. That's the nickname they gave us. We're not really death. We're just cursed to spread misfortune. But I'm pretty sure that's because Death's like, that's my girl, yeah. That's my bitch. You know what I mean? But like, so how are all... I just try to figure out how these are all going to tie up in a nice little bow, you know? Anyway. These were the same people who greeted us with smiles earlier today. But all of a sudden, they were now staring at me with animosity. I reached out toward the man without thinking.
Get away, you damn Reaper!
Spacey! Eve caught me from behind after I was pushed back with force. We both took a step back. Reaper? I hadn't heard that terrible word used against me for months because of Eve and the others. But the fact that he directed those words at me meant... Tell me... Following the coldness running through my body, I looked beyond the crowd. Probably the people clawing their own chests out. A stream of red flowed through the alley. There was a pungent smell of iron. The lycurus petals we lost sight of earlier fluttered gently onto the ground ahead. Oh, look, they even... Okay. They made this one really graphic. It's not just the blood everywhere. There's silhouette bodies, and they have glowing red where their hearts should be, like glowing red blood stains. Like, they went a little... I don't remember the other ones when there's bodies like this. They went a little above and beyond. A pile of 4 bodies lay on the ground. Oh, I guess that's that lady's legs. Okay, back there. All right. I was like, 4? Oh, those are her legs. Skirt. So this was probably not Boro. It's probably... Because, I mean, the whole point is what happened to our parents clawing their own chests out and all that stuff like that. So it would make more sense in this route that that's going to be more prominent.
Don't look, Spacey.
Eve tried to cover Spacey's eyes as she tried hard to breathe, but it was too late. Her body went limp. She couldn't keep herself standing without Eve's support.
Hey! The hell's going on? We heard Boro was killed, so how come there are more dead now? So it really was you behind all this, Death? You were fooling us and Eve the whole time so you could curse us all, huh?
You've got it wrong. I wasn't trying to fool...
Calm down, everyone. There's no point in blaming her for this situation. Why are you on her side, Eve? You've been fooled and you know that. He's right. Get away from Eve, Death.
The man picked up a small rock and got ready to throw it at Spacey when... A high-pitched breaking sound stopped them. Fucking Mathis. Get in. No, it's not. One of our little heroes.
Now, everyone. I must ask you all stay where you are. By order of the head of the National Research Institute, this matter is now under our control.
And there's our other boys.
The Corps will guard the bodies until the Institute sends their guards. And this is no time to be throwing stones. Contact your friends and family to make sure they're safe.
Out from the electric car came a young man wearing an oversized white lab coat, 2 members of the Corps, and... So was it Mathis driving then? I'm surprised it didn't hit someone, like the guy throwing a rock. Thunk, thunk! Smashes him into a wall. I'm not sorry about it. Spacey, Eve, are you all right? Please, in the back seat. The Claude family butler came forward to pull them behind Dahud, who shielded them from the crowd. Eve was confused as to why they were here. I am too, but I don't mind it. Let us and Dahud take care of this. You take care of her, got it? Her face is like, what the hell is going on? You know what? It's shit like this, though. It's a dark scene, and people are about to throw rocks at me, and then, Mathis comes flying up, he did not hit the guy with his car, but I just want to imagine he did a little bit. Tapped him a little, the guy falls over, tumbles down the road a little. The fuck? This is clown car, and you're it's just so, obviously, it happened long enough ago. It didn't just discovered, so, Dahut and people got notification, blah, blah, blah. How, though? Because nobody got cell phones, but, whatever. A couple people got transmitters, so I guess that counts. But they're all here, but, Mathis and John, why the fuck? It makes no sense. It's a little ridiculous, but that's why I love this game. Because this should be a dark and depressing moment, and it's the hell is this clown car? Does everybody just keep falling out of it? Where's Lucas? Nadia's in the back. What the fuck? I love it. It's ridiculous. Macy was the priority now. Eve nodded silently in response. It's so good. Despite the glares coming from the crowd, he carried her trembling body in his arms and brought her into the back seat. After making sure everyone was in the car, Jean quickly revved the engine. Oh, well, that's why the guy didn't get hit. Because Jean was driving. Jean drove the car, choosing roads with as few people as possible. The sound of the wind in the tires hummed gently. Eve asked what was going on, and Mathis responded as if he expected the question. Apparently, Mathis and John were heading to the ocean to use as a reference for the novel Mathis was working on. And Jean was going to pick up some hookers. As they neared the core base, they saw Adolphe and decided to stop for a moment to exchange formalities. It just so happened that Dahut was also visiting the base to see Eve. It was at that time that one of the residents of Cohen came running into the base to report that he found bodies in an alley. Which was why everyone, including Dahut, went into Mathis's car to drive to the scene. The most random circumstance here, and you're but you know what, I love it. Judging by the residents' reactions, it's not safe to return to Cohen just yet. Let me lead you to a safe haven. I don't trust you in the word safe haven, but god damn, you're so beautiful. God, you're gorgeous. It's okay. You know what? Whatever you say. A safe haven? Yes, my basement, where I'll experiment on you. Okay. Listen. I was excited when we rolled up into Lucas's house and there was a cage. I'm fuck yeah! And Jean, you're kind of fucked up and crazy, but if you keep on the sexy butler act, whatevs. Don't turn into Psycho Camille, though. I'm not into that. Keep the sexy butler act. You can be crazy, but just keep the butler act. Yes, this country's most fortified, secure location. In other words, Monsieur Brofis is awaiting your arrival at the National Research Institute. Woo! I'm sorry, I just get to see science, so. Because he didn't pop out of the car, so. Ugh! Why is he so goddamn gorgeous? Although, to be fair, why did they give him the neck of a swan? His collar and then his neck is 6 feet above. Nobody's neck is that long. It's a little ridiculous. He's still gorgeous, though.
But finally, Karun and the Maiden of Death. And my condolences for what happened. But you don't have to worry like last time. My men are already on the way to the site to collect the bodies before the Royal Guard.
I love his little fucking cocky face right now. It's
I one up those idiots.
Cyan was sitting in a lab chair as he calmly greeted the arrivals.
Cyan, can you at least let her sit down before going any further? Why do I have to take care of something as menial as that? Just sit wherever you want.
He hasn't changed. No, but that's why we love him. John brought in some folding chairs that were used during our last visit, and everyone finally took a seat. Because you know, even though there's a little couch there, you know he's like, I know he's sitting in a lab chair, but I expect Cyan to just knock everyone off and just lounge gorgeously as the goddess that he is. Spacey was leaning limply against Eve, still in shock over what happened. Cyan glanced briefly at her before nodding.
I've sent a messenger to that old bag at the orphanage. I doubt it's a good idea to return there now.
I wouldn't be surprised if the residents went to the orphanage to enforce their misguided sense of justice. Considering that the children still need to be cared for, I would say it's safer to have Sister Salome publicly state that Spacey has been kicked out.
I already made that suggestion to her in my message. She won't like it, but I'm sure she'll make the right choice. Well, if that's the case, maybe Spacey can stay with me. There aren't many in Cheetahs who would speak badly about you.
Master, I do hope you haven't forgotten that we're currently being monitored by the royal family due to the Boro incident. Mathis gasped, having forgotten. If she's with us when another commotion arises, the worst case, you may even be stripped of your family name. Jean's like, I am not going to let anything happen to my goddamn guinea pig, no!
But what about the Institute, then? And this is where the body is assumed to have been killed by death or brought. If she's not afraid of run-ins with the bereaved families, she can stay.
I'll just stay in your lab. After quietly listening to the others talk, Eve gently held her shaking hands in his. I mean, I like how they're all like, Math is like, she can stay with me. Well, that's actually not a good idea. What about staying here? I mean, for fuck's sake. Like,
this is Eve's route. You know he's going to take her, right? Come on.
We knew where this was going. He then began to speak with resolve.
I'll bring her to my house to be protected. To Karoon. Huh? That's way too dangerous. Our running away from the situation will only make everyone suspect the worst. Having her stay someplace everyone knows about, somewhere obviously public, will keep their suspicions at bay.
Well, I suppose that might work. I highly doubt anyone would try and do anything to her when she's with you, given how trusted you are in Cohen.
But,
sorry. I was trying so hard the last couple of lines to read them with my bird jamming his face in my esophagus, but that one I was like, but, like, he just pushed his fucking head into my throat at the wrong time. Bird, you can't fucking do that. Don't know why he tries to be in my throat, but Jesus, anyway.
But the fact that more of those mysterious deaths have occurred will only exacerbate people's fears. One wrong move and they might snap. Something horrible could happen to both you and her, Eve. Yeah, which is why...
What are you doing, Bird?
We need to prove that she isn't a murderer. We need solid evidence to prove she isn't the death that everyone believes her to be.
Oh, while we're here, why don't we get the information about my parents? Mathis gasped in surprise.
We need to take action now, or the people of this country who accept the curse as truth will never see her differently.
They knew what he was saying was right, so they decided to offer help when... What? No, Cyan.
Not a chance. I won't allow outsiders like you to meddle in this matter.
Cyan violently dropped his foot down onto his desk as he denied the plan.
Cyan, what are you saying? You've been cooperative until this point, so why now? You don't get me, do you? The reason I assisted back then was because the royal family and the royal guard were useless. For starters, we're professionals when it comes to performing autopsies, so letting me handle everything is a no-brainer. Well, yeah, but... What? I can't pet you and give you kisses and snuggles right now. I was reading my game. I was being bad. Alright, I'll pet you. And don't tell me you called Eve here just to tell him not to get involved. Yeah, I expect him to say some...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I expected him to say something like that, so I wanted to make sure we had an agreement on what to do with the bodies. The royal family will be desperate to seize the initiative to cover up their lies. I don't want to make any more enemies. Okay, so what you're saying is you can prove her innocence if we leave things to you? Yeah, and that is, if she really is innocent. Wait a second. Do you think she's behind everything?
Just like when they first met and negotiated, Eve and Cyan quickly faced each other head on. Okay, boys, listen. Do I have to have this conversation with you two? I mean, you can get into your little tiffs and stuff like that, that's fine, but nobody's stabbing anybody else. We already have to de-brainwash Lucas to stop stabbing Cyan, okay? I'm gonna need you to simmer down, you two.
Of course not. I don't believe in the supernatural or the occult, but why does she, of all people, bring about such unexplainable deaths?
Because they're supernatural and the occult. He's a scientist, so it makes sense. And he doesn't believe in that shit, you know?
Why does she seem to bring misfortune to others, especially you? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested. Are you trying to negotiate with me? You can be honest and say the word threat, Karun. I won't do anything to her if you excuse yourself from this investigation. I'd like to believe you'll comply, but judging by the look on your face, I doubt it. I plan on denying everything that's happened, including the rumors about her being dead. Which is why I can't agree with the idea of only you studying the bodies. So what? Assuming the same thing happens again, we in the Corps will relinquish all rights to the bodies to you. We'll also report discoveries of any new bodies and, if needed, deliver them to you while preserving the crime scene. In return, I ask that you give us the right to freely investigate any matter related to the deaths. It's better than having inexperienced people handling things. I need to keep the royal family in check. Fine, we have a deal. I'll even let you try to work around me, so long as you don't get on my nerves. But the moment you break the agreement, or the moment you touch the bodies, I'll come and behead you myself. I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, you know what? Beautiful, sexy bitch over here, an adorable labradoodle fighting like this is really hot. I'm into it. Now kiss. And make up. Actually, don't. I don't. Nobody else gets to kiss Cyan but me. Besides, I don't need Hugo trying to attack Cyan for kissing his boyfriend. Listen. Harsh words were spoken to the young man with whom he was once an ally in alliance. With whom he was once in alliance. Yeah, it's Cyan though. Cyan left the room and headed back to his laboratory. Thank you. Kisses? Eve held Spacey as they walked down the corridor. Eve saw Dahut returning from the site and explained to him the conversation that took place with Cyan.
Huh? Who in the world does our Cyan think he is?
God.
Needing guards for his experiments? Wanting to hire you and the others? He woke me up from my beauty sleep and made me bring you here? And now he practically kicked you out after picking a fight? I'm so sorry my boss is a piece of work.
He handed Eve a box of chocolate as an apology, which Eve reluctantly accepted.
Don't worry. Having someone skilled at performing autopsies does make sense.
But, you folks were friends who even got drunk together once.
Cyan does seem the type to separate his personal life from public interests. I'm rather suspicious about whether he really does have any interest in the public. Oh, what's your opinion as Deputy Director, Dahut? Are you in agreement with Cyan?
No way. If anything, I want to offer as much help as possible. I mean, you're about the only friends he has. And that said, even if I'm Deputy Director, he's still my boss. I'm in no position to go against his decision. So I doubt I can snatch a few bodies for the sake of sending them to you folks. And considering the possibility of plagues and contagions from decomposing corpses, I don't recommend having them stored outside of the Institute. I doubt that cult-run hospital has the space either.
Dahut then frowned at the sight of Spacey on unsteady footing.
And I can't stand how Spacey's suffering right now, especially since she helped take care of Cyan. So I have an idea. I'll just futz around with the system a wee bit, and let's fix it so that any information to the guards is delayed by a few minutes. The Corps can secure the crime scene and conduct just enough of an investigation to not break the agreement.
You're gonna compromise the system? Are you sure about this?
Of course not. I'm dead meat the moment he finds out, but, well, Cyan's kind of a psychopath anyway. He did say you could work around them, right? I think he's testing you all to see how you conduct your investigations.
Understood. Well, I guess I better entertain him.
He repositioned Spacey in his arms.
Well then, There's a favor I need to ask of you. Can you gather information about her parents?
I was kissing the bird, not you. Sorry.
Ah, I see. I can see how the deaths are similar since they lost their hearts in the Lycoris field. Understood. I'll see what I can find. They're in our database, and I should be able to confirm their records.
Thanks. I'm counting on you.
And now that it looks like things are settled, what should we do tonight?
I'm gonna take the alleys back to Karoon since Hugo's probably worried sick. I also need to let Adolphe know what happened with Cyan. I bet he's gonna be angry I didn't consult with him first.
I'm sure he won't mind. If he does get angry, then I'll act as your witness to say you did your best during the negotiation.
Eve gently patted Mathis on the head as a show of thanks. It's only a year younger than you. Spacey's face was still pale. She had remained silent the entire time without expressing a single emotion.
Let's go, Spacey. I'm back home to Karoon. I'm sure the Lycorises in bloom are waiting there for us.
His gentle voice reached Spacey. Yes. Her soft voice accompanied a gentle nod. You're fine. We get to be Capucine? This is interesting. I'm going to save that for the next part, though. So, anyway. I'm intrigued. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.